Cho Yaer's assistance, Shen Lang not only wiped out the Zhang family's 6,000 elite troops but also captured Zhang Ji as a hostage. The next step was a direct confrontation between the old fox and the young fox. At this moment, inside the main castle of Furious Tide City, 3 generals, each a leader of 1,000 households, were bound and kneeling before Shen Lang. Shen Lang, changing from his usual playful demeanor, said coldly, "It seems you 3 leaders of 1,000 households are quite lucky, not having been killed by Cho Yaer. Since that's the case, I'll give you a chance to live. I need a leader of 1,000 households to go to the dock to lure the Zhang prefect ashore. Which of you is willing?" However, as soon as he finished speaking, all 3 leaders of 1,000 households kept their heads down, ignoring Shen Lang's request. They held deep respect for Jang Chong, so how could they easily betray him? Seeing this, Shen Lang was not in a hurry. He walked up to one of the leaders of 1,000 households and asked, "Are you willing?" Unexpectedly, the man cursed fiercely, "Shen Lang, don't be smug. It was Cho Yaer who defeated us, not you. I am an Imperial general, and you, a mere son-in-law from the mythical Turtle Count's mansion. How could you kill me?" However, before he could finish his sentence, a flash of cold light struck, and this leader of 1,000 households fell and could not get up. Afterwards, Shen Lang walked up to the second leader of 1,000 households and continued to ask if he was willing to take on this important task. Unexpectedly, this leader of 1,000 households had even more backbone, refusing to look up at Shen Lang and adopting an attitude of "kill me if you wish." Seeing this, Shen Lang did not waste words and promptly dealt with him. Finally, when Shen Lang approached the third person, this individual was already trembling. Before Shen Lang could even ask, this leader of 1,000 households blurted out, "Don't kill me. I am willing to serve you." Recognizing his understanding, Shen Lang took out a pill and instructed him to open his mouth to swallow it. The man wanted to ask what it was, but as soon as he opened his mouth to speak, Shen Lang stuffed the pill into his mouth. The large pill was swallowed whole, nearly choking him. At this point, Shen Lang informed him, "This is a deadly poison. Without the antidote, you will surely die. Your survival now depends on your performance." Seeing that things had come to this, the man, in order to live, had no choice but to submit to Shen Lang. "I, Fang Wanshan, am willing to serve you, young Master Shen." Seeing his obedience, Shen Lang was very pleased and immediately ordered someone to untie him. Then, with a harmless smile, Shen Lang said, "Tidy up your appearance, make yourself look spirited. After all, we need Prefect Zhang to see you in a victorious light." Following Shen Lang's arrangement, this leader of 1,000 households, now properly dressed and riding a tall horse, led 100 or so soldiers disguised as Zhang family warriors, majestically heading to the dock to greet the arrival of Prefect Jang Chong. Shen Lang's plan was simple. As soon as Jang Chong's army landed in Furious Tide City, he and Cho Yaer's forces would swoop in and capture them. On the other side, in Cho Yaer's castle, she was lazily lying on a lounge chair in the Great Hall, reading a book. Meanwhile, her defeated subordinate, Zhang Ji, was kneeling in front of her. At this moment, Chanchan, who had dreamed of killing this man, was feeling very conflicted. Did I ever truly love him? Perhaps I was just enamored with Zhang Ji's power. Over the past few months, I have been living solely for revenge, never expecting this day to come so soon. She clenched her teeth and asked him, "Zhang Ji, if you did not wish to marry me, you could have simply called off the engagement. Why then did you have to kill my entire family?" At this time, Zhang Ji was like a soulless shell, completely oblivious to Chanchan's question. He was immersed in his own despair, unable to understand why he kept losing to Shen Lang, and this time, he was thoroughly defeated. Seeing his distracted state, Chanchan became very angry and shouted, "Zhang Ji, answer me. Why did you have to exterminate my entire family?" Her shout finally brought Zhang Ji back to his senses. He turned to look at Chanchan, and guilt appeared on his face. "I'm sorry, because your family didn't carry much weight. Killing you all would minimize the consequences." Chanchan was stunned, having often contemplated the answer to this question in her mind, but she had not expected the truth to be so cruel. In their eyes, the lives of the Su family were as insignificant as ants. The Zhang family, to protect their own reputation, would rather sacrifice the entire Su family than break off an engagement. Such cruelty. However, despite the pain in her heart, she still asked with tears, "Zhang Ji, do you regret killing my family?" Zhang Ji shook his head. "Chanchan, I never thought you would survive, let alone become so formidable. I know I have wronged you, but I do not regret what I have done. If I could do it all over again, for the sake of the Zhang family, I would do the same." Just then, Shen Lang walked in and asked, "Did you ever truly love Chanchan?" This simple question made Zhang Ji fall into deep thought. Sweet memories of his times with Chanchan flashed through his mind. He then said self-deprecatingly, "Chanchan might have been the woman I liked the most, but people like us don't have the right to speak of love, even if we wish to be each other's true soulmates. Unfortunately, we never had the choice." However, just as he finished speaking, the sound of bells from the dock could be heard outside the window. Shen Lang smiled and said, "Zhang Ji, your father has arrived." Zhang Ji tensed up. How did they get here so quickly? Indeed, at that moment, dozens of large ships, bearing pirate flags, were majestically sailing toward Furious Tide City. The leader of 1,000 households watched the approaching ships, his body tensing up. This was the fleet led by Jang Chong. Shen 13 whispered a warning into the ear of the leader of 1,000 households. It's your time to perform now. If you want to live, just cooperate with us honestly. The leader of 1,000 households, suppressing his fear, then adjusted his breathing and shouted loudly towards the sea. Prefect, we have captured Furious Tide City for you. Congratulations on your immortal achievements. All soldiers, raise your flags and wave them to welcome the arrival of the prefect. Instantly, under the leadership of Fang Wanchan, continuous congratulations erupted from the Furious Tide City docks. As the ships drew closer, Fang Wanchan performed with even more vigor. Meanwhile, soldiers like Jin Hui, hidden in the dock warehouses, were incredibly tense, hoping that Jang Chong and Chiu Hao's allied forces could successfully land. However, on the leading ship at sea, Jang Chong was not present. It was Zhang Chunhua and Chiu Hao who were navigating. Seeing the Zhang family flags and banners waving at the dock, Chiu Hao was shocked. You actually defeated Cho Yaer and captured Furious Tide City? How could she possibly lose? What exactly happened? Zhang Chunhua also sensed something was off. Without the death of Cho Yaer, it would be impossible for Zhang Ji to capture Furious Tide City. Looking at the Zhang family banners flying high on the docks, Zhang Chunhua felt a hint of unease. Suddenly, she widened her eyes as she realized something. Wait, why isn't my brother Zhang Ji here to greet us, but instead sent a leader of 1,000 households official? Seeing this, Chiu Hao was about to ask what had happened when Zhang Chunhua suddenly turned and yelled at him, "Run, it's a trap. Leave this place immediately." Chiu Hao was taken aback. The big guy hadn't yet grasped the seriousness of the situation. Zhang Chunhua angrily shouted, "You idiot! If my brother had really captured Furious Tide City, why wouldn't he personally come to the dock to welcome our father? Moreover, the flags they are waving are not the ones we agreed upon. We have lost. Do you understand?" Only then did Chiu Hao realize what was happening and hurriedly ordered all ships to retreat from the dock. At this moment, Zhang Chunhua, looking towards the distant dock, was crying uncontrollably. Why had Shen Lang won again? Would he kill my brother? Thinking this, she knelt down towards Furious Tide City and cried out, "Shen Lang, I beg you to spare my brother's life. Please don't kill him." She did this because she was sure that Shen Lang must be watching her from not too far away. As she had predicted, Shen Lang and Zhang Ji were indeed above the castle. At that moment, Zhang Ji was desperately waving his arms and shouting for them to leave. Shen Lang stood by and did not stop him. After all, Zhang Ji wasn't capable of long-distance voice transmission, and at such a distance, his voice could not possibly reach the ships at sea. Zhang Ji also realized this and broke down completely, crying out, "Father, please leave. It's my fault for underestimating the enemy. I'm incompetent and shouldn't drag you down with me. Father, I'm an unworthy son, and I can only repay your kindness in the next life." After saying this, he jumped off the tower. Since his voice couldn't reach the sea, he hoped his leap might alert his father. With a heavy thud upon landing, Zhang Ji was dead beyond any doubt. At this moment, Shen Lang coldly watched everything unfold, utterly indifferent inside. Was Zhang Ji foolish, thinking someone could see from the sea to the land from such a distance? Then he pulled out his telescope to look towards the ships. It seemed Zhang Chong was not on board, only sending Zhang Chunhua and Chiu Hao instead. It looked like Zhang Ji's death was in vain. Watching Zhang Chunhua desperately kowtowing on the deck in his direction, Shen Lang understood that this clever vixen had figured out his trap. At that moment, Su Chanchan ran over and leaned on the railing. When she saw Zhang Ji's body, a wave of joy surged through her. "Zhang Ji, you beast, you're finally dead. The wronged souls of the Su family can finally rest." But the next second, tears uncontrollably welled up in her eyes. The Su family was gone, and even with Zhang Ji dead, nothing could be changed now. At this moment, she desperately needed a hug to vent her emotions. When she turned around and faced Shen Lang's gentle and handsome face, she paused for a second, then ran towards him. As Shen Lang saw Su Chanchan rushing towards him, he also subconsciously opened his arms to welcome the beauty into his embrace. However, Su Chanchan simply passed by him and hugged Cho Yaer instead. At this moment, her heart was filled with gratitude towards Cho Yaer, who had helped her capture Zhang Ji and brought light back into her once dark world. Although Zhang Chong was still alive, she had given up on revenge, realizing that the root cause of her family's extermination was their own greed. Now that Zhang Ji was dead, her heart naturally felt relieved. At this moment, Shen Lang, seeing the two women embracing, felt a bit awkward. He simply turned around and picked up the telescope to continue watching the ships at sea. Meanwhile, on Skywind Island, the second largest island in the Thunderous Archipelago, a castle stood on the cliffs. Inside this castle, a familiar figure was sitting alone in a top floor room, playing chess against himself. This person was none other than Zhang Chong Prefect, the mastermind behind the Zhang siblings. He had been waiting in this castle for over 10 hours, yet no news had come. His hands trembled as he held a chess piece, knowing all too well that no news was bad news. As he placed the chess piece down, he accepted reality. He had lost. Tears continuously falling, he realized he had not only lost the battle, but might have also lost his son forever. Meanwhile, back in the castle in Furious Tide City, Shen Lang was in his room, admiring Zhang Chong Prefect's extraordinary wisdom, able to see through the trap he had set. Behind him, Jin Hui did not understand why young Master Shen seemed regretful even though he had won. A moment later, Shen Lang called for Ziqian. After taking Furious Tide City, Shen Lang handed over the city's defenses to Jin Shirin and all commercial affairs to Huang Tong. He was uninvolved in politics, economics, or military matters. Although Huang Tong was an outsider, Shen Lang believed that Furious Tide City, being a trade city, should be managed by professionals. Moreover, the Jin family and the Heavenly Path Society had a strategic alliance, which meant there would be no risks at least until they defeated the Hidden Origin Society. After hearing Shen Lang's plans, Ziqian was in awe of young Master Shen's wisdom. I really can't imagine how glorious the future of the Jin family will be with Shen Lang's involvement. Huang Tong was just as excited as Ziqian. My Heavenly Path Society can finally compete with the Hidden Origin Society again. At that moment, Shen Lang's arrival interrupted Huang Tong's enthusiastic daydreaming. Huang Tong quickly adjusted his emotions and handed over the neatly prepared meeting records and gift list to Shen Lang. Shen Lang, holding the notebook and listening to Huang Tong's report, was thinking about other matters. Although the political struggle has ended for now, there will still be political battles to come. Only when the sovereign's decree is issued, bestowing Furious Tide City and the Thunderous Islands to the Jin family, will everything truly be settled. Closing the notebook, Shen Lang said, if nothing unexpected happens, Jang Chong will come to negotiate within 2 days. Let's look at the gift list first. I don't care about the agreements, but I do need to remember what gifts these merchants have sent. Huang Tong hurriedly responded, these merchants all know your prowess, young Master Shen. They wouldn't dare to hold anything back. However, after looking through it for a while, Shen Lang, with a dark expression, handed the gift list back to Huang Tong. Huang Tong puzzledly asked, young Master Shen, are you dissatisfied with the gift list? Shen Lang turned away and said, how come these people don't cater to one's tastes? Sending beauties. Do I look like someone who is that abstinent? Upon hearing this, Huang Feng wished he could deafen himself and even felt that serving as Shen Lang's bodyguard was a disgrace. Even Huang Tong, a man himself, looked utterly embarrassed. Young Master Shen, could it be that they are afraid of Cho Yaer, so they dare not send such gifts? Shen Lang suddenly realized the problem. So these people think I've handled Cho Yaer, and they now assume I'm her man. Who would dare send a woman to the partner of a female demon? Isn't that just asking for trouble? Ah, you all really think too highly of me. How could I possibly handle that female demon? After hearing this, Huang Tong was speechless inside, amazed how a man could make cheating sound so innocent, making himself appear more like the victim. Young Master Shen, you really are impressively shameless. Shen Lang continued, but really, having been with a fierce general like Cho Yaer, I should actually feel proud. Listening to Shen Lang's brazen words, Huang Tong involuntarily glanced at Huang Feng in front of him. This conversation needed to end quickly. Who knew what other vulgar expressions young Master Shen might utter next? Out of desperation, Huang Tong quickly found an excuse to leave, saying he had other matters to attend to. Before leaving, he turned back to look at Huang Feng, thinking if only his own sister weren't so unattractive, capturing young Master Shen, this scoundrel, would indeed be an easy task. Huang Feng, knowing his brother's thoughts well, suddenly burst out in anger. Brother, are you saying I'm ugly? As the siblings left, Shen Lang chuckled and stood up, saying to Ziqian, come on, let's go paint the wall. Although Ziqian was puzzled by Shen Lang's idea, he obediently followed the command and painted the walls of the castle's finest study. Meanwhile, Shen Lang was already contemplating his next move. Jang Chong should be arriving for negotiations the day after tomorrow. This negotiation will define the victory between the Jin and Zhang families and also mark the beginning of political games with the sovereign. If Jang Chong is smart enough, our game will be much simpler. Otherwise, who knows how many more people will have to die. After Ziqian finished his task, he came to interrupt Shen Lang's thoughts. Young Master Shen, the wall is painted. Shen Lang acknowledged and walked up to the freshly painted wall, looking at the blank space, his mind filled with images of numerous enemies. He realized that in just half a year since arriving in this world, he had made so many enemies, half of whom he had already killed. He couldn't help but laugh. It can't be helped. Being too outstanding just naturally makes enemies. But now, it's time to add some new names to this wall. However, the names of the sovereign and the princes can't be written out. So who should I start with? After pondering for a moment, Shen Lang wrote down 2 family names, the Shui family and the Su family. The Shui family received benefits from the Jin family, but betrayed Count Jinyu 20 years ago. The Su family not only broke off an engagement, but also kicked us when we were down by siding with the Tang family to suppress the Jin family. Both families deserve death. Just as he was considering which family to target first, Jin Hui came running over in a panic. Young Master Shen, Cho Yaer is leaving. Upon hearing this, Shen Lang was stunned. No way, why so soon? If she leaves, what am I going to do next? At this time, Cho Yaer was walking alone on the streets of Furious Tide City, where passers-by, seeing her, avoided her as if she were a ghost or a deity. However, these gazes didn't matter to Cho Yaer anymore because she could finally leave this place to search for the owner of a voice from her memories. It turns out she had been adrift at sea since she was 8, and all her memories before that seemed to have been erased by some force. The only remaining memory was of a magnetic voice telling her a story before sleep. Although the content was blurry, this voice had always echoed in her mind. Even though it was just a vague voice, Cho Yaer knew this person must be very important to her. Now that she could finally leave, she was determined to find him. Soon, she reached the end of the street and arrived at the dock, where a woman had been waiting for her for a long time. The civilians who had been following her realized that this time Cho Yaer truly would not return. At that moment, Cho Yaer looked back at Furious Tide City one last time, as if bidding a silent farewell to the place where she had spent 20 years. Then she turned around and ordered all her direct relatives to prepare to depart. Just then, Shen Lang chased after her, shouting, "Hey, do you really have to leave so urgently?" Cho Yaer looked at him without speaking. Su Chanchan, on the other hand, looked at him with contempt. "Shen Lang, you don't really think that just because Cho Yaer has a child, she would change for you, that she would stay for you, do you?" But the next second, Shen Lang bluntly said, "What if Jang Chong and Cho Hao come to kill me after you leave? I won't feel safe without you. Why don't you come with me? We can take out Cho Hao, and then you can leave." Upon hearing this, even Su Chanchan couldn't listen anymore. "You're too direct. You're not even trying to play the emotional card." Cho Yaer was even more disgusted. "I killed Zhang Ji out of anger and to avenge Su Chanchan. What does it have to do with you? Shen Lang and Cho Hao likes men. We get along fine. Why should I kill him just for you, a pretty boy?" Seeing that Cho Yaer was unwilling to help him, Shen Lang blurted out, "Hey, before you go, how about one last round of farewell sex?" At his words, everyone was stunned in place. Cho Yaer was so angry that she grabbed Shen Lang by the neck, lifting him high like a little chicken, and the next second, a crack of his neck, Shen Lang, aged 19, dead. Of course, this was all just Shen Lang's imagination. He would never dare say such a thing in front of Cho Yaer. At that moment, he approached Cho Yaer holding 2 books, and said gently, "Since you insist on leaving, I won't force you to stay. Although you dislike me, I still want to give you these 2 books. I know you like to read, so I wrote these especially for you, to pass the time." Cho Yaer took the 2 thick books. She had already listened to half of Journey of the Monkey to obtain the scriptures, but she had never seen the other book. What was this book about? Shen Lang briefly described it. It's about a genius's meteoric rise, and then his destruction of the woman who once betrayed him. Cho Yaer found the description quite interesting, but Su Chanchan next to her felt sure Shen Lang couldn't possibly be this generous. However, she kept her thoughts to herself, and just as she suspected, Shen Lang was indeed playing a trick. Journey of the Monkey to obtain the scriptures was unfinished by 10,000 words, and Battle Through the Heavens had only a few 100,000 words written, stopping abruptly at a critical moment. Thinking of how frustrating it would be for Cho Yaer to encounter these unfinished stories, Shen Lang felt particularly pleased. "Since you, Cho Yaer, are leaving so decisively, I definitely need to leave you something to remember me by, but of course, it should be the kind that makes you want to kill me whenever you think of me." Before boarding the ship, Cho Yaer approached Su Chanchan again and asked if she wanted to leave with her. However, this question instinctively made Su Chanchan look toward Shen Lang. At this moment, she was caught in an agonizing decision. Cho Yaer was the light that had redeemed her soul and her absolute idol. Now that Zhang Ji was dead and her vengeance was complete, she felt she should follow her forever. But Cho Yaer shone too brightly, and any woman by her side might lose herself. And Shen Lang, though flawed, seemed more real. After much thought, Su Chanchan asked, "Cho Yaer wants to take me with her. Aren't you going to try to keep me, Shen Lang?" Shen Lang avoided Su Chanchan's gaze and cautiously replied, "Or you could stay." Hearing this, Su Chanchan spoke sharply, "You want me to stay to be your concubine?" Shen Lang was taken aback. "A concubine? How could I possibly demean you to such a role?" Su Chanchan stepped forward. "Don't forget your wife is Jean Mulan. Since you're not daring to make me a concubine, are you planning to keep me as a mistress on the side?" Shen Lang was shocked, thinking to himself, when did Su Chanchan become so wise? Why does she have to put it so bluntly? To highlight my flaws? One must not see too clearly. Smart people tend to be unhappy. You're just making yourself unhappy. Cho Yaer, unable to stand it any longer, interjected, "Chanchan, just say the word, and I'll kill him." Su Chanchan laughed. "He's been a scoundrel. I've known that since day one." Faced with Su Chanchan's choice, Cho Yaer was quite surprised. Just as this girl resolves her emotional conflicts, is she planning to dive back into this scoundrel's trap? Tears welled up in Su Chanchan's eyes as she responded, "General, I am deeply grateful for how you've saved my spirit and given me a new life. But I'm staying not for Shen Lang, but for my family, the Su family. Although Su embroidery is destroyed, I am still alive, and my grandmother and brother still need my protection. Thus, I must stay to revive our family business and bring Su Embroidery Chamber of Commerce back to life. I need to make my own way." After hearing Su Chanchan's words, Cho Yaer said nothing more, but stepped forward to embrace her, gently leaving her with the words, "Take care of yourself." Then she turned in order to board the ship and set sail. Moments later, Shen Lang and Su Chanchan stood quietly on the dock, watching Cho Yaer's fleet depart. With that, the Battle of Furious Tide City also came to a close. Night fell, and the surging waves repeatedly crashed against the cliffs of Skywind Island, while moonlight streamed through the windows into the castle. At this time, Zhang Chonghua knelt in front of her father, sobbing painfully, while while Jang Chong stood at the table, supporting himself with both hands and staring motionlessly at the chessboard, seemingly aged 10 years overnight. Jang Chonghua cried out, "Father, we've lost Furious Tide City, and my brother might be gone." Upon saying this, she could no longer hold back and burst into tears, hugging her father. Jang Chong stiffened. Being old and cunning, how could he not have foreseen today's outcome? Then Jang Chonghua, looking up with a face full of hatred, said to Jang Chong, "Father, I swear to tear Shen Lang into pieces to avenge my brother." Jang Chong closed his eyes and took a deep breath, suppressing his sorrow, and said to his daughter, "Chonghua, do not think about revenge. In the game of politics, there are only enemies, no personal vendettas. The situation is settled, and we have lost the wager. Tomorrow, I will travel to Furious Tide City to negotiate with Shen Lang and put an end to this conflict." Meanwhile, the bell at the Furious Tide City dock rang again, and several ships were swiftly heading towards Furious Tide City. The guards, who had already gone to bed, grabbed their clothes and weapons and quickly ran out of their houses upon hearing the sharp bell. They thought it might be a sneak attack by Prefect Jang Chong in the middle of the night. When everyone reached the dock and saw that the signals from the on-duty soldiers matched those of the torches waved from the ships, they breathed a sigh of relief. It turned out that these ships were the fleet sent by Mythical Turtle Count from Isle of Gold Mountain to provide support. When the lookout excitedly informed Mythical Turtle Count that the signals had been successfully matched, he finally relaxed completely. Thank God, as long as Shen Lang is safe. Behind him, Tang Yun was both shocked and envious. Who would have thought that this pretty boy would actually take down Furious Tide City? This is the core of the entire Eastern Maritime trade. Now it belongs to the Jin family. Jinjua, you've really found a great son-in-law. In just half a year, he has expanded the Jin family's territory several times over, a feat comparable to that of Count Jin Zhou back in the day. Moments later, as the ships docked, Mythical Turtle Count couldn't wait to disembark and rush towards Shen Lang, then embraced him tightly. At this moment, he completely shed his Count persona, resembling more a father relieved at his son's safe return. This gesture left Shen Lang somewhat bewildered, as he hadn't yet grasped why his typically reserved and aloof father-in-law had suddenly become so warm. At this point, Tang Yun, observing their affectionate father-son-like interaction, couldn't help but speak up. Young Master Shen is truly capable, managing to take Furious Tide City without losing a single soldier. Tang truly admires you. Shen Lang responded with a sly smile. Jin High Count, are you telling me that you've let go of your grudge against my family? Tang Yun self-deprecatingly said, I am simply resigned to my fate, thus I pretend to be at peace. Shen Lang patted Count Jin High on the shoulder. Good. It's great that you can adopt this attitude. Tang Yun felt there was an underlying message and urged, Young Master Shen, perhaps you could clarify your statement a bit more. Shen Lang's smile faded as he advised, Jin High Count, I suggest you go back to your estate immediately to pack up and disperse your family. Hearing Shen Lang's words, Tang Yun's face turned pale, nearly losing his balance. Are you sure that's necessary? Shen Lang nodded. Considering you have surrendered to my family, let me offer you one more piece of advice. Lower your profile and take initiative to protect the lives of your family. Upon hearing Shen Lang's counsel, Jin High Count's face turned ashen, and tears uncontrollably flowed down his cheeks. Whether it was from despair or anger, he thought he had already suffered enough losing the Isle of Gold Mountain and all his private troops, but he hadn't anticipated that the real catastrophe would come at the very end. Suddenly, Tang Yun let out a miserable laugh. I never imagined that Tang Yun, would end up a discarded pawn, slaughtered not by an enemy. Seeing Tang Yun's miserable state, Shen Lang suddenly said, send Tang Yen to Sky's End Sea Pavilion as soon as possible to save his life. Upon hearing this, Tang Yun immediately understood, bowed deeply to Shen Lang, and without delay, Mythical Turtle Count arranged a ship to send Tang Yun home. Watching the ship sail away, Mythical Turtle Count was filled with emotion, thinking this might be the last time he would see Jin High Count. He never imagined that heaven and hell could be so close, and that it was almost his Jin family that nearly fell into hell. As Shen Lang followed his father-in-law back, he took another look at Jin High Count's ship. His help for Tang Yun was not out of sympathy for the Tang family, but rather to plant a spy that might be useful someday. Shen Lang had his eye on Tang Yun's son, Tang Yen, a martial enthusiast, which is why he offered advice to save the Tang family lineage. After sending off Jin High Count, Shen Lang accompanied Mythical Turtle Count to the grand hall of the main castle in Furious Tide City. Looking at everything before him, Mythical Turtle Count still found it surreal. Hard to believe that this city and this castle now belonged to his Jin family. He recalled when Shen Lang first outlined his four-step strategic approach. It seemed as difficult as reaching the heavens, with only a slim chance of success. Yet, it had actually succeeded. At that moment, Shen Lang sighed and said, it's just a pity our opponents are so strong. Father-in-law, such a pity. We were so close to achieving complete success. He continued, pointing at the map. The The Thunderous Archipelago consists of dozens of islands, large and small. We've captured the most crucial one, Thunderous Island in Furious Tide City, and the second largest, Skywind Island, is currently occupied by Prefect Jang Chong. The remaining smaller islands are held by Chiu Hao. The strategy was to secure the middle ground by persuading Chiu Hao to seize the islands beyond Furious Tide City. The idea was that if they failed to take Furious Tide City, Jang's family would at least have these islands as a fallback, avoiding total annihilation. Thinking of defeat before victory, even with success in sight, he made contingency plans to avoid the worst-case scenario. I must say, Jang Chong is truly formidable. From the start, every move he made nearly resulted in a narrow victory for us, especially this time. If it hadn't been for my good relations with Cho Yaer, even dealing with Zhang Ji's 6,000 elite troops would have been problematic. Now we have only captured the largest, Thunderous Island, and the remaining islands have gone to Jang Chong and Chiu Hao. It's a pity we couldn't achieve complete success. As Shen Lang explained step by step, Mythical Turtle Count felt a cold sweat on his back, realizing how difficult Jang Chong was to deal with. He was thankful to have Shen Lang, otherwise, he could hardly bear to think of the consequences. Suddenly, Shen Lang changed his tone and pointed at the map, saying, "Now our plan is 90% complete, just a final push left. After this push, our Jin family can enjoy long and stable rule, and even your lordship might get a promotion. Next, we play a little game with the sovereign. Whether it's a great pressure or just a breeze will depend on the sovereign's choice. Tomorrow's negotiations with Prefect Zhang are coming, but I believe our collaboration will be seamless and flawless." The next morning, Furious Tide City's dock had returned to its usual bustling scene, and Zhang Chanhua, following her father's orders, came before Shen Lang. Now, her look at Shen Lang was devoid of any flirtatiousness, only plain and cold. "Shen Lang, where's my brother?" Shen Lang did not speak, but ordered someone to bring over a wooden coffin. When opened, it revealed Zhang Ji's body, peaceful as if asleep. Shen Lang had been considerate enough to have the body properly prepared by a skilled person, showing respect to the Zhang family. At the sight of Zhang Ji's body, tears streamed down Zhang Chuanhua's face, and she threw herself at the coffin. Although she had 3 brothers, Zhang Ji was the closest and most affectionate to her. At this moment, Shen Lang explained, "Yesterday, when your and Chiu Hao's fleets approached Furious Tide City, Zhang Ji thought your father was also on board, so he shouted warnings from the castle. But because you were too far away, you couldn't hear him. In an attempt to be seen, he jumped from the castle, but you still didn't see him." Hearing this, Zhang Chanhua collapsed on the ground crying, continuously saying sorry. She regretted not thinking of using a telescope to carefully observe the castle, and also resented Shen Lang for not sparing her brother's life even though he had one. Seeing this, Shen Lang initially wanted to step forward and offer his help, but the moment he touched Zhang Chanhua, he was harshly pushed away. At this moment, facing the man who killed her brother, all she felt was disgust, wishing she could tear Shen Lang apart to avenge her brother. Yet, reason still prevailed over her hatred. She informed Shen Lang that her father invited him to negotiate, and whether he brought bodyguards was up to him. Shen Lang shook his head and said, "No need to bring any. What's done is done. Your father no longer intends to kill me. We are even on the same boat now, so I will be safe going alone." Despite Shen Lang feeling it unnecessary to bring bodyguards, Mythical Turtle Count, for safety's sake, still sent 1,000 warriors and 5 warships to accompany him to sea. Soon, Shen Lang boarded Zhang Chong's ship and was led into the cabin by the guards. Yet, when he saw Zhang Chong, he was still taken aback, as the man appeared over 10 years older than before, his face weary, but his eyes still resolute. Shen Lang bowed as he approached, for he was the junior, and such respects were absolutely necessary. Zhang Chong gestured for him to sit without any formalities, then picked up the teapot and poured Shen Lang a bowl of tea, which he handed to him. Shen Lang drank it in one gulp, and throughout, there was no conversation between the two. When Shen Lang put down the tea bowl, the formalities of their meeting were considered complete. Then, Shen Lang took the initiative to speak. "I truly regret what happened to your son, Zhang Ji." He used the word regret instead of apology. Zhang Chong replied, "There are no grievances on the battlefield. Today, would Shen Young Master like to start, or should this old man begin?" Shen Lang responded, "Let the junior start today." Then Shen Lang began. "Cho Tianwei's seizure of Isle of Gold Mountain enraged the sovereign and prefect. You were distressed upon hearing the news." Zhang Chong continued, "On the surface, the sovereign said he couldn't dispatch troops to help Mythical Turtle Count reclaim Isle of Gold Mountain, but in reality, there wasn't a day he didn't want to regain his vassal's territory. So prefect, sharing the sovereign's concerns, mobilized the troops of New River County and successfully persuaded Chiu Hao to raise an army. Meanwhile, my Jin family set a trap on Cliffwatch Island, luring Cho Tianwei's forces into attack. Both our families joined forces to exterminate the pirate Cho Tianwei, thus restoring peace to the eastern part of Yu Kingdom. Mythical Turtle Count's recapture of Furious Tide City is truly a monumental effort. From now on, Furious Tide City will be an inseparable part of Yu Kingdom. Congratulations to the sovereign on the expansion of his territory. Prefect, your bravery in conquering the Thunderous Archipelago has built an everlasting legacy. My Jin family will definitely report report these merits to the sovereign and will not let them go unnoticed. With the sovereign's reforms benefiting the nation and the people, my Jin family, as an example to the old nobility, is willing to reduce our troops by 2,000. Hearing this, Jang Chong stopped talking. A reduction of 2,000 troops. Just after your Jin family expanded by 2,000, now you're cutting back, essentially reallocating them as escorts for the maritime trade convoys. You really do play a loud game. Shen Lang continued. In the battle for Furious Tide City, the official forces of New River County were defeated by Cho Yaer, who captured 3,000 soldiers. My Jin family led the troops to defeat Cho Yaer and rescue the captives, and I am willing to hand them over completely to you, Prefect. After listening, Jang Chong did not continue the conversation but simply said, "Thank you," and spoke no further. Thus, both sides concluded their discussion. The content of the meeting seemed as if the two had coordinated it beforehand, with no flaws discernible. However, Shen Lang knew that Jang Chong had already secretly reported the true content to the sovereign. Of course, Shen Lang was not worried, as the Jin family currently had over 7,000 troops defending Furious Tide City, including those left by Cho Yaer, and they had also taken over all of Cho Tianhui's ships, gaining most of the maritime control. At the moment, with the southern Ouyang country still embroiled in a civil war, even if the sovereign wanted to strike like lightning, he would have to consider the difficulty. He knew that if the Jin family was pushed too hard, they might just take Furious Tide City and defect north to Wu country, which would really destabilize the nation. Therefore, the sovereign had no choice but to justify the situation to the world based on what I just said. Thus, on the surface, it appears as a great victory for Yu Kingdom to expand its territory. As a cup of hot tea was poured into the bowl, the negotiation that Shen Lang and Jang Chong Prefect showcased to the world officially ended. Although Jang Chong's efforts prevented the Jin family from capturing the entire Thunderous Archipelago, Furious Tide City, a key trade city, has now become a bargaining chip for the Jin family, forcing the sovereign to halt the progress of his reforms. This will undoubtedly lead the sovereign to vent his frustration on Jang Chong, and his ultimate fate will have to wait for the sovereign's decision. After bidding farewell to Jang Chong, Shen Lang immediately led his troops to Isle of Gold Mountain. With the cooperation of nearly 2,000 Jin family captives within Isle of Gold Mountain, Shen Lang effortlessly reclaimed sovereignty over the island in just half a day. He then arranged for Jin Cheng to stay with 1,500 troops to garrison Isle of Gold Mountain, while he led 500 troops back to mythical Turtle Count's mansion. Now that the situation was stable, Shen Lang was eager to return home to see Mulan. However, as he pondered how to boast about his achievements to Mulan upon his return, a graceful figure suddenly appeared behind him. Then, Su Chanchan's hand seductively wrapped around Shen Lang. Her sudden intimate gesture made Shen Lang shiver uncontrollably, his mind frantically trying to steel himself. He couldn't afford to succumb to temptation and betray Mulan again. However, as Su Chanchan whispered enticingly in his ear, coupled with the sweet fragrance emanating from her, Shen Lang ultimately could not resist falling into this tender trap. At that moment, Su Chanchan whispered, "Shen Lang, given how close we are now, can you tell me how you managed to poison that group of Western region clients of mine?" Upon hearing this, Shen Lang immediately sobered up and quickly sat up. "Miss Su, please don't falsely accuse me. I only sold the dye formula to your family. It was a straightforward transaction. How could I possibly commit such a despicable act?" Su Chanchan, seething with anger, thought to herself, "This scoundrel won't even admit it. Who else but you would have the skill to poison them?" Yet, she suppressed her anger and continued softly, "Let's rephrase it then. Young Master Shen, could you help improve the purple and multicolor formulas further?" Shen Lang smirked and responded, "Of course, that's no problem. But for every batch of silk made with my new formulas that your family sells, I'll take a 5% commission. How does that sound?" Su Chanchan's expression darkened immediately. This guy really knows how to avoid taking any loss. But the next second, she looked at Shen Lang with tender affection, attempting to play on his emotions. This woman intended to use her charm to make Shen Lang drop the idea, but Shen Lang flatly refused her. Even real brothers settle accounts clearly, let alone us who are ex-spouses. We definitely need to be clear. Hearing Shen Lang's words, Su Chanchan could no longer hold back her frustration and pushed him away fiercely, not forgetting to curse, "Get lost, you scumbag." After Shen Lang arrived on land, he quickly rushed toward mythical Turtle Count's mansion. However, as soon as he stepped into the mansion, he was shocked by the scene before him. All the servants were dressed in white, and the courtyard was filled with coffins. Shen Lang, suppressing his discomfort, walked inside. These coffins held the core guards and servants of the Jin family. What on earth had happened? Only after meeting his injured mother-in-law did he learn about what had occurred. Suppressing the rage in his heart, Shen Lang soothed his mother-in-law's emotions before rising to check on Mulan's injuries. Along the way, Shen Lang's anger nearly peaked, more than ever since he had arrived in this world. He had never hated someone so much nor wanted to destroy a family so badly. Distant guard Marquis Su family, you dared to harm my Shen Lang's family. Su Jianting, just you wait. I will make you wish you were dead and regret being alive. Moments later, Shen Lang arrived at the bedroom. There, little Bing was seen struggling with her injuries while preparing medicinal medicinal oil from Mulan. Upon seeing Shen Lang, Little Bing burst into tears. Young Master Shen, you're finally back. Now that you're here, you should apply the medicine to the young mistress. She then handed the bowl of medicine to Shen Lang and hurriedly ran out. Although Shen Lang was puzzled by Little Bing's actions, he first rushed into the bedroom to check on Mulan's injuries. However, when he saw the shocking wounds behind Mulan, he understood why Little Bing had run so fast. At this moment, facing his beloved suffering such severe injuries, Shen Lang felt as if his heart was being torn apart. Yet, watching Shen Lang's expression, Mulan was concerned that he would blame her for not taking good care of herself. Shen Lang shook his head with compassion and said, "Why would I blame you? Your righteousness saved countless people. Mulan, you are my pride, as well as the pride of the entire mythical turtle count's mansion." Hearing Shen Lang's words, Mulan shyly buried her face in the pillow. Meanwhile, Shen Lang, who was applying medicine, frowned with sorrow because every touch on the wound made Mulan tremble. After applying the medicinal oil, Shen Lang asked, "Didn't the Su family know that we had already burned the letter Su Jian Marquis sent to our family years ago? Why would they still let Su Jianting take such a great risk to snatch it?" Mulan shook her head, indicating she did not know. Shen Lang's expression darkened. "It seems there might be some conspiracy here, but it's fine. Since you, the Su family, are so eager for death, we might as well exterminate your clan first." But Distant Guard Marquis is a leader among the old nobility, and Su Nan is also the great general of the army. It's not easy to topple such a giant. At this moment, Mulan, lying on the bed and seeing him calculating with his fingers, curiously asked what he was thinking about. Shen Lang replied, "I'm calculating how many days it will take to eliminate the Su family. Have you figured it out?" Shen Lang blurted out, "About 150 days. Mulan was shocked. "Can you really be that precise to the day?" But it didn't matter. Mulan sighed softly. The prowess of her husband was evident to all. She just needed to silently support him from behind. Thinking this, she got up, took Shen Lang's hand, and then shyly said, "Husband, can you hold me while I sleep?" Inside the Jin High Count's mansion, Tang Yun, who had just learned of the final outcome, was kneeling in front of his father, Tang Yen, and was already crying inconsolably. He did not understand why the Tang family had come to this point. Tang Yen wept and asked his father, "Do we really have to take this dead-end path? Now that the Jin family has taken over Furious Tide City, it is equivalent to slapping the sovereign's face. The sovereign will definitely not let them go. If we wait, there might be a chance for a turnaround." Jin High Count shook his head in despair. "We can't wait any longer. If we do, the Tang family will be completely wiped out. To accompany a monarch is like accompanying a tiger. Our sovereign, although extremely intelligent, is also stingy and unkind. His wrath must be unleashed." After hearing this, Tang Yun cried out. It was the Jin family that disrupted the new policies and expanded by taking advantage of the situation. Yet our Tang family has always stood by the sovereign. Why should our family bear the brunt of his anger? Doesn't he fear chilling the hearts of his loyal officials? Tang Yen chuckled self-deprecatingly. Was the ruler of the southern Ouyang not loyal enough? Yet, he was still cunningly done in by our sovereign. Compared to that, what are we, the Tang family, in his eyes? Now that the Jin family has taken Furious Tide City and secured 80% of Cho Tianhui's fleet, they have enough leverage to keep the sovereign at bay. Naturally, our Tang family has become the scapegoat, the outlet for his anger. Tang Yen sighed and continued, "My son, we are now racing against time. Jang Chong's secret letter has already been sent to the capital, and you must immediately set off for the governor's office to denounce me. Otherwise, by the time the Blackwater platform cavalry storms our home, it will all be over." Upon hearing this, Tang Yun was stunned. His father was asking him to denounce him alone, but what about his brothers? Hearing Tang Yun's question, Jin High Count fell silent. Yes, what about his other sons? He could have asked them to flee to other countries, but fleeing would mean treason, and the sovereign would surely execute their entire clan. But if Tang Yun could be saved, then the Tang family still had a future. Perhaps one day, the Tang family could rise again in Yu Kingdom. With this thought, Tang Yen pounded the table with his fist and said, "Tang Yun, remember, you must not tell any of your brothers about this. Now, you must immediately go to the governor's office and denounce us." At that moment, Tang Yun was completely despairing. His father was sacrificing the entire family for his sake alone. Seeing his son's distress, Tang Yen earnestly advised him again, "My son, remember not to antagonize Shen Lang or Mythical Turtle Count's mansion anymore." Hearing his father's words, Tang Yun could no longer hold back and shouted, "Why? It is because of Shen Lang that our family has come to such a dire situation. I swear, one day I will completely eradicate the Jin family." Before he could finish, Tang Yen slapped Tang Yun, sending him flying. "Fool, if it weren't for Shen Lang's warning, you wouldn't be alive. Even if you seek revenge, you must be clear about who your real enemies are." Tang Yun was stunned. Jin High Count's slap had also brought him back to his senses. Right, who is our real enemy? Muttering to himself, Tang Yun's tears flowed once again. Following his father's instructions, Tang Yun mounted his prized steed and rode day and night to the governor's office. Late that night, the office of the governor of the southern journey was still brightly lit. At that moment, Zhu Rong, the grand governor, was repeatedly reading the secret letter sent by Jang Chong. He could hardly believe that the Jin family had actually taken Furious Tide City, but he also understood that Jin Jinzhou alone could not have achieved such a feat. Shen Lang. It must be him. It seems I underestimated this pretty boy, and I never thought that Jang Chong, the undefeated general, would also be no match for Shen Lang. With this turn of events, the political reforms can no longer be forced upon them. More precisely, the reforms cannot continue. At this thought, Zhu Rong felt a headache coming on. Jang Chong was the sharpest tool in his arsenal. Originally, once mythical Turtle Count's mansion was dealt with, the reforms were supposed to spread across Yu Kingdom like wildfire. But now, not to mention the reforms, even Jang Chong himself had been compromised. No, not just Jang Chong, but now even I was implicated. Zhu Rong knew the sovereign's temperament best. Although Jang Chong had captured most of the Thunderous Archipelago, losing Furious Tide City meant he had lost. If the sovereign lost face, he would unleash his anger, and now he must find a way to save Jang Chong. At that moment, Yin Wujin came over and said, "It seems you plan to make the Tang family the scapegoat to absorb the sovereign's wrath. But do you think, with the sovereign's temperament, one Tang family will be enough to appease him?" Zhu Rong did not respond. He knew Yin Wujin dared to say this because his own family had been annihilated by the sovereign's inexplicable wrath years ago. After his anger subsided, the sovereign felt guilty and allowed a few descendants of the Yen family to serve in government positions. Just then, a servant came in to report, "Grand Governor, Jin High Count's heir, Tang Yun, says he has urgent news and requests an audience." Moments later, Zhu Rong adjusted his mood and sat back down in the reception hall. "Tang Yun, what brings you here so late?" At that, Tang Yun immediately knelt down and said, "Governor, I have come to denounce my father. In his vengeance against the Jin family, he conspired with the pirate Cho Tianwei, not only secretly giving Isle of Gold Mountain to the pirates, but also sending our family's private army disguised as pirates to attack Jin's Cliffwatch Island." I, Tang Yun, appointed top scholar by the sovereign, faced the dilemma of loyalty versus filial piety. "I am willing to forsake my family for the sake of the state, to destroy my kin for justice." After saying this, he handed over a blood letter with trembling hands. Zhu Rong took the blood letter and glanced at it before asking, "Did your father send you?" Tang Yun did not answer but bowed his head deeply. Seeing this, Zhu Rong continued, "You arrived just in time. If it had been half an hour later, I would have been on my way to the capital to plead guilty before the sovereign." Hearing this, Tang Yun was suddenly filled with relief. It was a close call. Just a little later and the Tang family would have been completely annihilated. Then Zhu Rong stood up and said to him, "Get up. Since you are here, come with me to meet the sovereign." Although the contest between Prefect Jang Chong and Shen Lang appeared to end in a draw, in reality, Jang Chong suffered a devastating defeat at the cost of his son's life. Governor Zhu Rong was immensely anxious upon receiving the news. Jang Chong was recognized as the invincible general of Yu Kingdom, yet he had just lost to a son-in-law of the Jin family. This embarrassing defeat would surely enrage the sovereign, who might even severely punish Jang Chong. To protect his valuable asset, Zhu Rong led a team overnight to the capital that very evening. He was well aware that they were heading into a significant political crisis, with the southern Oyan country's rebellion not yet quelled, and Yu Kingdom in turmoil. Whether the sovereign would react with thunderous fury or gentle calm was now up to his will. Zhu Rong's concerns were not unwarranted. At this moment, the atmosphere in the royal palace was very somber. Sovereign Ning Yuanxian, shaking with rage as he read Zhang Chang's secret report, stood up, kicked over the dragon table in front of him, and tore the report to shreds while bellowing, "How dare you, Jin Zhua? Do the Jins wish to rebel and force my hand?" And Zhang Chong, the nation's top general, defeated by that insignificant son-in-law of the Jin family. Where does this leave the dignity of the royal family? His outburst terrified all the ministers and eunuchs in the hall, who dared not even breathe. The sovereign, unable to vent his anger elsewhere, immediately ordered that Zhang Chong be brought to the capital and thrown into the Blackwater platform prison to await his fate. Meanwhile, with fireworks sounding, there was laughter and joy throughout mythical Turtle Count's mansion. Although mythical Turtle Count had not returned home, Shen Lang's triumphant return prompted Lady Jean to decide to celebrate the new year anew for everyone. Now that the Jean family had money, they were not stingy about rewarding everyone. From the highest to the lowest, each person received 3 large red envelopes, one from young Master Shen, one from young Master Shen's parents, and one from the Countess. In Shen Lang's courtyard, little Bing was lighting the lanterns one by one. Just then, snowflakes began to drift from the sky. This sudden snowfall excited everyone immensely. Meanwhile, inside Shen Lang's bedroom, the mood was spring-like. Tonight, Mulan was finally fulfilling her promise to give Shen Lang their wedding night. Mulan sat on the bed, her face radiating shy charm and allure, her beauty breathtaking. Even Shen Lang, usually so glib, found himself overheated by her charm. It turns out, once a cool goddess starts being charming, it can be fatally enticing. At this moment, Mulan, seeing that he was just standing there, took the initiative and pulled him over. At this point, the romantic tension tension between the two had reached its peak, and Shen Lang cheekily said, "Wife, why don't we skip the foreplay and get right to the main event?" After hearing this, Mulan smiled charmingly, signaling that the night was going to be a blissful one for them both. 3 minutes later, outside, Little Bing dejectedly looked at the sky. Why did the snow stop so quickly? Little did she know that inside the room, Shen Lang was staring blankly at the ceiling, disheartened. 3 minutes? How could it only be 3 minutes for him? Seeing this, Mulan gently comforted him. "Husband, don't mind it. You were probably just too excited." Shen Lang felt even more dismayed. "I used to last all night without rest with Cho Yaer. Wife, do you think there's something wrong with me?" Although Mulan felt a bit uncomfortable hearing this, she still smiled and said, "Husband, you are very capable. You could battle for hours with a demoness like Cho Yaer, which shows how strong you are." Encouraged by Mulan's words, Shen Lang's spirits lifted. "Right, if I can tame a Tyrannosaurus like her, handling my delicate wife should be no challenge." With this thought, Shen Lang found an appropriate excuse for himself. "In that case, let's go for another round." However, 3 minutes later, Shen Lang was completely disheartened. Oh my god, what could possibly be the problem? The next day, the morning in Yu Kingdom's capital was sunny, and Sovereign Ning Yuanxian's mood was unusually good, as if the brief snowstorm the night before had swept away all his irritations and helped him see some things more clearly. "Someone fetch me sticky rice balls," he suddenly demanded. The Grand Eunuch, not a moment later, presented a bowl of sticky rice balls before the sovereign. Even as the sovereign ate, the eunuch felt nervous, knowing the sovereign's eating habits, getting bored with one bite too many, feeling unsatisfied with one bite too few. He feared the sovereign might unleash his fury, potentially endangering his own life. All he could do was pray the 9 rice balls were neither too many nor too few, just enough. Just then, the sovereign's empty bowl was handed over, and the eunuch breathed a sigh of relief. Thank goodness, it was just right today. Suddenly, Ning Yuanxian asked about Jin Mutsong's recent days at the Imperial Academy. After learning that he was doing well, he ordered the eunuch to send him a bowl of sticky rice balls, with instructions to add rice wine to suit his taste. The boy is studying alone in the capital. It's not easy. Make sure the people at the Imperial Academy take good care of him. He must not be mistreated. The eunuch, following the order, quickly left the hall. Being close to the sovereign is like being close to a tiger. His temperament really is hard to fathom. And Zhu Rong, to save Jang Chong, also rushed to the royal palace overnight. There in the sovereign's study, Zhu Rong knelt on the floor begging for forgiveness, while the sovereign, as if nothing had happened, leisurely sipped his tea. Moments later, the sovereign set down his cup and smiled. "Grand Governor, this is clearly a great victory, so where does your guilt come from? Everyone knows that Cho Tianwei proclaimed himself king over the eastern seas. If not for the ongoing war in southern Ouyang, I would have dispatched a large army to execute him long ago. Now, Jang Chong and Jin Zhua have eliminated a great threat for me, which is a good thing." Hearing the sovereign speak so casually, Zhu Rong, lying on the ground, was already trembling with cold sweat. Ning Yuanxian continued. "Mythical Turtle Count reported only his willingness to cut 2,000 private soldiers, without claiming any credit for expanding our kingdom's territory, attributing all merit to Jang Chong, truly the act of a nobleman. However, I heard that Jang Chong's son, Zhang Ji, died in Furious Tide City, truly a pity. To console Jang Chong, I decree posthumously appointing Zhang Ji as Eagle General." Upon receiving the command, Zhu Rong no longer thought of defending Jang Chong, aware that the Tang family was doomed, and Jang Chong's fate was sealed. The sovereign acted swiftly. Early the next morning, Jang Chong, leading the Blackwater platform's guard, stormed into Jin High Count's mansion. Soon, everyone in the family, except for Tang Yun, was fearfully pressed to the ground, still unaware of what was happening. As the guards reached Tang Yun's quarters, Jang Chong stopped them, then entered the room alone under the guards' watchful eyes. Inside, Tang Yun was desperately downing jug after jug of wine, surrounded by several shattered jugs. Seeing Jang Chong, he wasn't surprised, burped, then casually offered Jang Chong a jug, saying, "Lord Zhang, my Tang family was once unstoppable. It's a pity I didn't heed your advice back then. Now disaster has struck us, while you rise above the clouds." Jang Chong looked at him. His face was expressionless, but his eyes revealed a trace of wistful self-mockery. Tang Yun was drunk, but not oblivious, and he bitterly laughed. Human fortune really is unpredictable. After setting down his jug, he stood up and bowed. "Lord Zhang, considering our past friendship, could you allow me to end my own life and keep some dignity?" Jang Chong shook his head regretfully in refusal. "The sovereign has commanded that if you commit suicide, it would suggest you died wronged. Only a public execution can prove you accepted your guilt." Desperate, Tang Yun pleaded with Jang Chong. "My son Tang Yun is now without support. Please, Lord Zhang, remember our past and look after him." After hearing this, Jang Chong showed a bitter smile and nodded in agreement, then said, "Lord Tang, please make your way." An hour later, the Tang family, young and old, were dressed in prisoner's garb and shackled, led out of Jin High Count's mansion. An eunuch stepped forward to read the imperial decree. "The Tang family has colluded with pirates, a crime beyond redemption. All titles and lands are hereby revoked and all private armies disbanded. Tang Yun, having exposed this, is absolved of crime, but having failed to prevent his father father's heinous acts, is stripped of all his titles. As the decree was pronounced, cries of injustice and wailing filled the air, but the eunuch, accustomed to such scenes, paid no attention, looking on with disdain and saying, "What are you waiting for? Hurry and take the criminals to the capital." Moments later, a procession of over 1,000 Blackwater platform guards escorted the 700 members of the Tang family in a convoy of prison carts towards the capital. Thus, the 300-year legacy of Jin High Count's mansion came to an end that day. As the prison carts entered the streets, the area was already surrounded by countless townspeople who, seeing the Tang family, began hurling insults and mud at the carts. Even as Tang Yun, covered in filth from the assault, showed no reaction, allowing the public to vent their emotions. As they passed a tavern, Jang Chong appeared at a second-story window. Naturally, she too was shocked by the scene. What grievous sin did the Tang family commit to provoke such public outrage? Jang Chong shook his head. Tang Yun may not have been a benevolent ruler to his subjects, but he did not harshly tax the people of Jin Hai. Olive Gold Mountain generates substantial revenues annually, and the taxes on Tang's lands were always minimal. Hearing this, Jang Chonghua grew even more puzzled. Then why do these people hate him so? Jang Chong walked to the window, looking out. The human heart is like water, deep and unpredictable. Public sentiment is like smoke, chaotic and unreliable. Since ancient times, the human heart has always been the least reliable thing. Just as Jang Chong finished, his expression suddenly changed as he coughed violently. Jang Chonghua, alarmed, quickly inquired about her father's health. Jang Chong ignored his daughter's concern, knowing that the sovereign's focus would soon be on him, and he needed to make arrangements for his daughter quickly. He then stood up straight and told Jang Chonghua, "I've arranged through Grand Governor Zhu Rong for you to study at Skyzen Sea Pavilion for a year and a half. Get ready, I'll send you there in a few days." Upon hearing this, Jang Chonghua burst into tears instantly. "Is something wrong with father? I don't want to leave you. My brother is gone. I want to stay and accompany you." Jang Chong pretended to be impatient and said, "I don't need your company. You've been the most disobedient since you were young. Go there and learn how to be a proper lady." Jang Chonghua wanted to say more, but Jang Chong simply turned his head away. "Stop causing a scene here. Go back and pack your bags." Indeed, the next day, Jang Chong's prefect's office received the sovereign's decree. The first decree praised Jang Chong for his efforts in exterminating pirates, posthumously awarding his deceased son Zhang Ji the title of Eagle General. The second decree conferred the title of third-rank commanding lady on Jang Chong's mother. The final decree, however, was the main issue. Jang Chong's remarkable achievements and new policies in New River County had been recognized, and now with these achievements, he was relieved from his role as prefect of New River County and promoted to Right Minister of the Imperial Censorate. With the departure of the eunuch, the prefect's mansion became lively. Everyone felt that Prefect Zhang's direct promotion to a third-rank official position meant he was set to soar. Only Jang Chong himself knew clearly that the sovereign was making a move against him. On the night the decree was issued, Zhang's old mansion was flooded with continuous visits from countless guests. These officials, having been in their positions for many years, understood that the position of Right Minister of the Imperial Censorate was a stepping stone for officials destined for higher promotions. Knowing that Jang Chong was about to take up the position of subordinate commander in Glamorous Province, they did not hesitate to openly address him as Commander Zhang during their congratulations. Listening to everyone's flattering compliments, Jang Chong felt a deep disgust. If they knew that officials associated with him might soon be pulled down, who knows what they would think? Of course, Jang Chong would not disclose this issue openly, but instead displayed a rare smile and accepted everyone's flattery. The banquet lasted until midnight, and he dismissed the guests under the pretext of having to go to the capital the next day to meet the emperor. After everyone had left, Jang Chong shed his facade, slumping down as he walked step by step toward the ancestral hall in the backyard. There, not only the tablets of immortals, but also the tablet of his most beloved son, Zhang Ji, were placed. At that moment, it seemed a demon had arisen in Jang Chong's heart. He had been loyal and patriotic his whole life, fighting countless battles for the sovereign, but in the end, he not only lost his son, but was also facing the ruin of his good name. At that moment, Jang Chong could no longer control his emotions and let out a roar. After venting, he could no longer support himself and collapsed in front of the altar. The pain of losing his son and the abandonment by the sovereign were too much for the tough old general, and tears of regret and resentment flowed from his eyes. The next morning, dozens of Blackwater platform knights stormed into the mythical Turtle Count's mansion. Since the Count of Mythical Turtle had not yet returned, it naturally fell to Lady Jean to receive this Blackwater platform leader of 1,000 households. The leader of 1,000 households was straightforward in his purpose. "Lady Countess, it is said that Tang Yen, the third son of Lord Jin Hai, is in your mansion. The Tang family has committed the crime of treason, and I hope you will hand over the young man to me." Lady Jean feigned surprise after hearing this. "Indeed, Tang Yen had come to our house before to find our son-in-law, but as you know, there is a deep feud between the Tang family and ours, so we expelled him at that time." The Blackwater platform leader of 1,000 households naturally knew of the enmity between the two families, but the intelligence he he received, and Lady Jin's response clearly made him suspicious. Seeing this, Lady Jin continued, "Please rest assured, sir, Tang Yen previously had a battle grievance with our Mulan, and we naturally would not shelter the Tan family." With this statement, the Blackwater platform leader of 1,000 households found himself at a loss for words. At that moment, Su Pei clapped her hands, and upon hearing the signal, a servant immediately appeared in front of the two, respectfully holding a tray of gold bars. Su Pei politely said, "Sir, you have traveled a long and fruitless journey, and as it happens, the Spring Festival is still in the first month. The year is not yet over. These are just a little token of appreciation from the Count's mansion. Please accept them." Seeing this, the leader of 1,000 households quickly stood up and waved his hands to refuse, and then he took his leave, citing the need to report back. He was not foolish. Accepting favors from the Jin family while on official business could cost him his head. Meanwhile, inside the Count's mansion's library, Shen Lang was bent over a desk deciphering secrets from a jade book, while the martial fanatic Tang Yen studied sword techniques alone behind him. After a night of analyzing and writing, the ancient secret method known as "there is snow under heaven" was finally deciphered. At that moment, Shen Lang let out a long sigh. He had been busy deciphering all night and hadn't had time to look closely at the contents of the technique. Only then did he begin to examine it closely, but after a moment, he felt somewhat disappointed. This sword technique does not seem as powerful as I had imagined. However, the remarkable thing about Sword King Li Qianqiu is that with just a slight hint of understanding, he can tell whether this secret manual is powerful or not. So it must be quite strong, right? Shen Lang couldn't help but suspect that the old man had an ulterior motive in sending Tang Yen to him. However, since he had already written it out, he casually handed the book to Tang Yen. Little did he know, Tang Yen took the book without even a word of thanks and turned around to leave. Shen Lang felt embarrassed. This martial fanatic really is not polite. However, he saved so many people from the Jin family, yet didn't even ask for a thank you. Thinking this, Shen Lang spoke up to stop him. "Hey, it's too conspicuous for you to just go out like that. Let me get you some clothes to cover up." At this moment, Tang Yen was unaware of the catastrophe that had befallen his family and didn't grasp the meaning behind Shen Lang's words. But considering his clothes were indeed worn and hadn't been changed for a long time, he did not refuse. A short while later, Lady Jin and Shen Lang together escorted Tang Yen out of the mansion, dressed in clothes that covered him from head to toe. Tang Yen, though puzzled, did not question them. Without a word, not even a goodbye, he mounted his horse and rode away. Watching Tang Yen's retreating figure, Lady Jin was worried he might be intercepted by the Blackwater platform's men along the way. Shen Lang reassured his mother-in-law, "The men from the Blackwater platform understand that if they intercept him and he mistakes them for robbers, they might just become unintended victims under his blade." Su Pei felt somewhat relieved by these words, but still asked Shen Lang if he had directed Tang Yen to head straight for Sky's End Sea Pavilion. Shen Lang shook his head and said he hadn't. Upon hearing this, Lady Jin immediately burst into tears. Seeing his mother-in-law's maternal instincts in full swing, he consoled her. "Tang Yen won't listen to anyone but Li Qianqiu, but I've already left a message with the Sword King explaining the situation. Once Tang Yen gets back to the island, the Sword King will take him to Sky's End Sea Pavilion for refuge." Su Pei was reassured by this, but within seconds she began crying again. "Shen Lang, I suddenly miss Jin Muzong so much. It's been over a month, and I almost forgot about him." Shen Lang was taken aback, realizing he had nearly forgotten his brother-in-law was still detained in the capital. Meanwhile, at the court, before Jang Chong could reach the capital, an impeachment petition accusing him of embezzlement reached the sovereign. Enraged, the sovereign ordered Jang Chong's arrest and a thorough investigation of the matter. Unsurprisingly, the guards at the prefect's mansion easily found tens of thousands of gold coins, evidence of his embezzlement. Once the allegations surfaced, numerous impeachment petitions against Jang Chong poured in, with more and more accusations piling up against him. Jang Chong quickly went from being a forever loyal official to a historical criminal. The officials who had attended Jang Chong's promotion banquet were also deeply implicated. One scribe, unable to withstand the immense pressure, hanged himself. The scribe's death seemed to awaken everyone. To distance themselves, they began to file their own accusations against Jang Chong. However, the sovereign paid no mind to these baseless accusations, allowing them to fizzle out into nothingness. It wasn't until the chief clerk of the prefect's office wrote a blood letter revealing Jang Chong's despicable actions against the people that the silence was finally broken. With the publication of this petition, all the officials were stunned, marveling at the chief clerk's fearless act. But it was precisely this foolish act that allowed them to gauge the sovereign's stance. Finally, the sovereign reacted, inherently despising such traitorous acts. He ordered the arrest of this excellent chief clerk on charges of embezzlement. Not long after, the clerk committed suicide by slitting his wrists in the Court of Judicial Review's prison. With the clerk's death, all the impeachment petitions against Jang Chong quietly came to a halt, as if nothing had happened, as if this person had never existed. During the tumultuous times surrounding Jang Chong, Shen Lang also felt a sense of despair. However, his despair was different from others. others. Since consummating his marriage with Mulan, Shen Lang had not been able to shake off this curse. Believing that there was something wrong with his body, Shen Lang began researching various remedies, trying all sorts of tonics, and even started exercising to overcome his laziness. Despite all his efforts, when it came down to the real deal, he always ended up back where he started. This setback plunged the usually proud Shen Lang into deep self-doubt. Just when the couple was at a loss, Lady Jean suddenly pulled Mulan aside and whispered something to her. That night, the accompanying maid, Little Bing, finally fulfilled her wish and snuggled into young Master Shen's bed. Miraculously, after a night of passionate endeavors, Shen Lang's ailment was cured. It turned out that the root cause was Mulan's perfection, which overly excited Shen Lang. Although this issue was resolved, for some reason, Shen Lang suddenly lost a significant amount of weight a while later. At this moment, enjoying the nourishment of the supplements fed by the mature lady and the young girl by his side, Shen Lang was enjoying himself but also fell into contemplation, wondering if he should rest his body for a while. Time flies, and more than half a month of peaceful life passed in a blink. However, the mythical Turtle Count's mansion still hadn't received the sovereign's decree. Instead, mythical Turtle Count returned from Furious Tide City. This time, he specifically came back to redo Shen Lang and Mulan's wedding and to rectify Shen Lang's status from son-in-law to Mulan entering Shen's family as his wife. Upon hearing this, Shen Lang repeatedly waved his hands in refusal. Father-in-law, please don't correct my status. I just want to be a kept man at home. Don't expect me to take office. Besides, having the status of a son-in-law can confuse our enemies and makes it easier for me to operate. Hearing this, mythical Turtle Count felt his good intentions were well, but perhaps the son-in-law had a point. Reluctantly, he gave up on the idea. After resting at home for a night, the mythical Turtle Count then rushed back to Furious Tide City under Lady Jin's affectionate gaze. Several days passed without the sovereign's decree arriving, but Shen Lang decided not to wait any longer. He ordered the Jin family to start a large-scale migration of the populace to Thunderous Island. Knowing that the Jin family had over 1,000 square kilometers of land, but a population of 100,000 residents, nearly every household was involved in sericulture to earn money. With mythical Turtle Count's love for the people and low taxation, it naturally attracted more migrants. Now with 5,000 square kilometers of land on Thunderous Island, the Jin family could finally offer their citizens a wealthier life. Of course, the Heavenly Path Society also actively participated in this, not only helping the Jin family bring a large number of people to Thunderous Island, but also providing them with 2 million gold coins and interest-free loans to be distributed to the people as settling in and land reclamation fees. Meanwhile, Chanchan also returned home, without money, without a workshop, and even all her shops had been forcibly sold to pay off debts. Thus, she once again came to mythical Turtle Count's mansion, but this time, she didn't meet Shen Lang, but Jean Mulan. Honestly, mythical Turtle Count's mansion, burdened with huge debts, was even poorer than her, but Jean Mulan still lent money to Chanchan. On the other side, unable to wait for the sovereign's decree, Jean Zhua could no longer contain himself and once again returned to mythical Turtle Count's mansion to ask his son-in-law what to do. Mythical Turtle Count told Shen Lang, "The emissaries from Wu country have come to me a dozen times already. They are willing to send troops to help the Jin family eliminate Qiu Hao and seize the entire Thunderous Islands. The condition is that the Jin family leads the Thunderous Islands to rebel against Yu country and align with Wu country, and they have promised to appoint me as mythical Turtle Marquis afterward." After hearing this, Shen Lang understood that his father-in-law was not actually planning to betray his country, but was merely releasing this information to give Ning Yuanxian a sense of urgency. However, Shen Lang felt that now was not the time. Such a decision was a trump card that should only be used when absolutely necessary. Otherwise, once it got out, it would confirm the accusations of the Jin family wanting to commit treason. Mythical Turtle Count also calmed down after hearing this, but it's been almost 2 months. Why hasn't the sovereign reacted yet? Shen Lang smiled and said, "Father-in-law, don't worry. If I'm not mistaken, the sovereign is waiting for the southern Ouyang country's war situation to conclude. Also, he's waiting to see what actions we will take." 2 days after this conversation, news came from the capital that Tang Yun had been executed by waist chopping, and the rest of the family, 350 people, were beheaded, with the survivors sent into slavery. The day after the Tang family was dealt with, the sovereign's decree finally arrived at mythical Turtle Count's mansion. However, this decree was beyond everyone's expectations. Thunderous Islands were incorporated into New River County. Qiu Hao was appointed as the Lord of Skywind City, and their own commander, Jin Shireen, was surprisingly appointed as the Lord of Furious Tide City. Seeing the Imperial edict, mythical Turtle Count became furious. "Jin Shireen is a servant of our Jin family. Sovereign, you dare to overstep and appoint him as the Lord of Furious Tide City. Clearly this is an attempt to sow discord within the Jin family." The more mythical Turtle Count thought about it, the angrier he got, and he slammed his fist onto the table. Seeing mythical Turtle Count's anger, Jin Shireen immediately knelt down to show his loyalty. "Lord Count, although I am an orphan, I was raised in the Jin family and have never been treated unfairly. I have long regarded you as a father and have never harbored harbored any designs on the Jin family's wealth. I absolutely will not accept this decree from the sovereign. If the sovereign insists, I am willing to take my own life to demonstrate my loyalty to the Jin family. Mythical Turtle Count knew of Jin Shireen's loyalty, but the sovereign's actions were indeed too unscrupulous. At that moment, Shen Lang stepped forward, helped Jin Shireen up, and said, "Jin Shireen, your loyalty is clear to all. You don't need to worry too much. Just calmly accept the decree." Hearing Shen Lang's words, Jin Shireen was deeply moved and thanked young Master Shen for his trust. "I once resented you for marrying Miss Mulan, but after witnessing how you have steered the Count's mansion through crises, I have completely submitted to your wisdom. From now on, I will follow young Master Shen's lead. Mythical Turtle Count is my lord, and you and young Master Jin Mutsong are my young lords. Whatever commands the young masters give in the future, I, Jin Shireen, will face fire and water without frowning. Should I break this oath, I am willing to die as this sword breaks." Saying so, he then forcefully snapped his sword in two. Following this, Jin Shireen was appointed as the Lord of Furious Tide City according to the decree, and then they waited for the sovereign's response. Sure enough, 3 days later, another imperial edict arrived at Mythical Turtle Count's mansion, and the eunuch read loudly, "The sovereign decrees that the son-in-law of Mythical Turtle Count's mansion, Shen Lang, must immediately start his journey to the capital for an audience." The moment the decree was heard, Mythical Turtle Count was thoroughly enraged. "Sovereign, by repeatedly attempting to drive a wedge within the Jin family, are you truly challenging my bottom line?" Upon hearing the imperial edict, Mythical Turtle Count's face changed drastically, and he immediately wanted to refuse outright. However, the eunuch simply stated, "The imperial edict has been delivered, and I shall not stay any longer. Whether to go or not is for Mythical Turtle Count to decide." After the eunuch left, Mythical Turtle Count immediately called Lady Jean and Jin Shireen to discuss strategies. By then, Jin Shireen was already the Lord of Furious Tide City and naturally had a right to speak. However, as a loyal servant of the Jin family, he still followed closely behind Mythical Turtle Count, never overstepping his bounds. He sneered at Sovereign's aggressive approach. "Lord Count, our sovereign really lacks any of the former king's mercy. He could be described as stingy and ungrateful to the extreme. Now that we have Furious Tide City as a bargaining chip, even if young Master Shen does not go to the capital, what can he do?" Old Master couldn't help but speak up as well. "I agree with Jin Shiryung's view. The capital is indeed a dangerous place, and if young Master Shen goes there alone, he is likely to suffer. Now that Wu country has been trying to win us over, I believe Sovereign is aware. Does he not fear another catastrophe like the glamorous province incident?" Then Shen Lang, who had been silent, finally spoke. "Father-in-law, I must go to the capital." At this, Mythical Turtle and Lady Jean immediately refused on the spot. Shen Lang quickly explained, "Previously, the sovereign was like a tiger, and we were just a deer. He could have easily crushed us. But now that we have entered the sea and become sea snakes, the tiger cannot come into the sea to kill us. What do you think he would do in this situation?" After a moment of thought, Mythical Turtle Count said, "He will be furious and take his anger out on another deer to display his authority." Shen Lang smiled. "Exactly. The Tang family is somewhat a scapegoat in this regard. Sovereign's actions are merely to intimidate us and other old nobilities. The execution of Tang Yun was also to kill the chicken to scare the monkey, specifically for us to see. But actually, the person he hates the most now is not us, but Jang Chong. Previously, Jang Chong's repeated victories won him Sovereign's favor. He was even planned for the position of glamorous province subordinate commander before the new policies were completed. Actually, Jang Chong's actions had been flawless all along, but they never anticipated that someone like me would appear. Jang Chong's failure not only severely hindered the progress of the new policies, but also made Sovereign lose face. Although Sovereign is desperate to kill Jang Chong immediately, he calmed down and used a trivial charge to imprison him in the heavenly prison, neither convicting nor releasing, just freezing him there. Now the new policies are to be suspended, and our Mythical Turtle Count's mansion has to rule from across the sea. This undoubtedly makes Sovereign lose military authority and face. Imagine, before a tiger returns to its den, it will roar to warn the creatures in the forest. Conversely, if it really wants to hunt, it will pounce silently. So if I'm not mistaken, as soon as I enter the capital, father-in-law's royal decree will come immediately." Hearing Shen Lang's analysis, everyone suddenly realized, and the situation became clear. Then Shen Lang continued, "Actually, even if Sovereign doesn't summon me to the capital, I was planning to go anyway. Before this, the Su family had Su Jianting lead people to break into our house and steal, killing over 100 of our servants and injuring my mother-in-law and Mulan. If this vengeance is not avenged, how can we continue to strut around?" This statement deeply resonated with Lady Jean, who is known for her clear-cut love and hate, and she immediately stood up to support her son-in-law fully. At this, Mythical Turtle Count expressed his doubts. "If Sovereign wants to test the intentions of his ministers, wouldn't it be more proper to directly summon me?" Shen Lang laughed. "Sovereign has long understood what kind of person you are. What he really cares about is me, this bomb. Only by seeing me can he be sure whether our family will rebel. And through these incidents, he also hopes to keep me away from my father-in-law, to prevent the Jean family from continuing to expand." Lady Jean, Lang, hearing this, just laughed. This meeting is likely to disappoint Sovereign. After all, with Shen Lang's personality, you're not fond of the troublesome business of rebellion. Shen Lang laughed. Mother-in-law really understands me. I have only two purposes in life. The first is to enjoy wealth and luxury, and the second, naturally, is to live without enemies. The next morning, in Shen Lang's courtyard, Shen Lang and Mulan had been busy all night, but still found it hard to part. At that moment, Shen Lang repeatedly assured Mulan, "This time I go to the capital, I will behave myself and stay faithful. I absolutely won't stray again." But Mulan wasn't concerned about that. She just wanted to be with Shen Lang all the time. She also knew that her father and Jean Shireen would have to stay in Furious Tide City for years, and the responsibility for the defense of the Count's mansion would fall on her. Seeing Mulan so downcast, Shen Lang quickly changed the subject and asked her if there was any martial art that one could master in a year, or one that could achieve in 1 year what ordinary martial arts achieve in 10 or 5 years. After a long silence, Mulan finally got angry and stood up shouting, "No, no, do you think Cho Yaer is better than me? Are you tired of me now?" Hearing this, Shen Lang quickly embraced her and said, "Silly girl, I just want you to become the #1 in the world quickly. One day, I want to take you in front of Cho Yaer so you can slap her dead on the ground." Hearing this, Mulan felt relieved. She too wished for such a day since Cho Yaer was her biggest enemy. Suddenly, she remembered that her master once mentioned an ancient manuscript called Hell's Married Technique, which was said to be very powerful and could potentially double one's martial prowess. Shen Lang responded with disdain, "How can that be considered an ancient manuscript if it's so useless?" Mulan was speechless. However, she also told Shen Lang that this manuscript was just a legend and nobody knew where it was. Shen Lang looked at her affectionately and said, "Don't worry, wife, I will find it and give it to you as a gift for your 22nd birthday, as proof of your husband's love for Mulan." "Stop it, don't mention my age. I am forever as young as you. Whatever wife says is right."